Hi, everybody. My name is Chris Cooley. I'm one of the co-founders of Ozworks Group, which is a private online community for OZ stakeholders from all over the country. Now, I have a question for you. Are you an investor looking for up-and-coming small and medium-sized projects to invest in, OZ projects that is, or are you an entrepreneur that's looking for investment for your small and medium-sized OZ project fund? Well, we created this new program called the OZ Pitch Track. And the whole idea is to level the OZ playing field to make capital flow a little bit more accessible and in some ways some due diligence more accessible for small and medium-sized stakeholders in and around opportunity zones. So if you're interested in something like that, check out this video and or you can check out ozworksgroup.org/OZ pitch track. And you can check out all about what this program is. But this video is an introduction as to why we created this program, what it's all about, and answers a bunch of FAQ that our members have had. So please check it out. We'll look forward to seeing you inside of Ozworks Group because this is a members-only program. So all you have to do is sign up for a month. There's no long-term commitment. You can try it out. You can get into the pitch program, include it in your membership. So you, again, visit ozworksgroup.org/OZ pitch track. Or you can visit ozworksgroup.com and become a member and dive right into the process. So see you soon. Thanks for checking this out and enjoy.
I just gave you that feedback quick. I know Chris has to jump to something else, but
Sure.
Well, actually, I love it because this is one of the challenges that we are looking to solve with this pitch track pilot, which is where and when are you able to receive feedback on a pitch in a format that doesn't extend, right? And go on like 24/7 feedback. And that's one of the elements of what CrowdSmart is going to provide for us, which is if you look at a deck, if you look at a video, if you look at all the components of a pitch, how can we collaborate and connect and refine and revise all of that into one repository or place where this can actually be beneficial? And David could leave comments back to you, Paul, and David can upload and revise his deck as he continues to progress so that other people can see that, and ultimately that then becomes ranked. So let me just dive into this for a minute or two. I've gone over this a couple times in other Friday sessions leading up to this point, but I'm just going to give an overview of what this pitch track pilot is and what some of the benefits are and what the rules are going to be, because it is going to be and it will be like starting Steve, Monday at the latest, right? Available to everyone who's a member of Ozworks Group. This is the pilot. It's going to go for 2 months up from now up until the end of the year. And then at that point, we are going to look at all of the investability scores that are built out in CrowdSmart. And we will have a live pitch fair at the end of January. So anyone who sort of graduates through this pitch track program by uploading your project into CrowdSmart, getting feedback, and then building up this score will have an opportunity to be able to be recorded and get in front of a bunch of different potential capital funding sources that we'll get into in a minute. So the whole thing came about as, and I see Super Dave is here, Super Dave and many other people who have made comments like, hey, how do I get access to capital? When I asked a few months ago why people joined Ozworks Group, it started with community connectivity. And then the next piece was like, I really need to raise some money, right? So this is where really the rubber meets the road. This is where action happens. So we've built the community. We're incredibly supportive. And now it's time to say, we are looking to be able to revise and refine these decks so that you all can start to get yourselves in front of more money. And there was a great question that came up to me, like, what is a small and medium-sized OZ project, right? So we've got a couple of different benefits here in this pilot. It is a pilot. It is not, there's no additional cost as a member of Ozworks Group to participate in this. That being said, we do ask that anybody who's going to be listed as an owner of any project that they do become a member of Ozworks Group. So, we just want to limit sort of the third party representation here. We want people to represent themselves. But it came about, and the question about, small and medium sized projects, I'm a business partner in this Osworks group with Jimmy Atkinson, and you may know that Jimmy runs a pitch day that we just completed over the course of the last day and a half, and it's not cheap to get a slot on that pitch day. And so in talking with with Jimmy and a lot of you all, it's like, hey, how do we create a place where we can actually present these pitches that they can be viewed for different investments. We also will be bringing in investors that are looking for up and coming projects like the ones that you have. So you can check out, we've created a landing page for this. Osworksgroup.org is also like a new website we've been working on that has more information about the programs we're running. But OZ Pitch Track, I'll pull it up here in just a second. But someone asked what's a small and medium sized OZ project. Basically, it's any project that can't afford to have a slot at OZ Pitch Day. So we just wanted to make sure that we had some options that haven't existed yet. I'm going to pull up just the page real quick and kind of go down through some of the benefits. I think I've talked enough about why we created this this pitch track. It really is to level the OZ playing field. We want to get you in front of different capital options, and those options will be VCs. They will be QOFs that potentially want to fund smaller projects. And again, not that we're limiting this to just, small, medium-sized projects. We will allow anybody who's a member of Osworks Group to get listed here or to participate. And we've got regulation crowdfunding options. So the whole idea is that you will ultimately get to a point where you can pitch and be visible, and that these funding options will also be pitching to you so that you can choose your own path. And that's some of the benefits to this, right? So we want to make sure that people are prepared before you go out and spend money on getting listed somewhere or give away the farm, if you will. We want to make sure that you have that there's multiple different funding options for you to be in front of, that you can get this guidance and feedback. Like, so Paul just mentioned on David's presentation, right? Like, here's some feedback, and we could all sit here and listen, or we can utilize CrowdSmart, which we will show a demo of in just a second how this is going to work, to get that feedback on an ongoing rolling basis. So
Chris, don't forget the family office clubs as well. David, that was an excellent presentation. I've been working with the family office club on my pitch deck, and they want to get it down to 10 slides. And I said, you're crazy. There's no way I can get it down to 10 slides. But
this will be
Chris, thanks for doing this.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. And this will be a great opportunity to figure out how and where you might be able to refine that down to 10 slides, right? Because we've got people here that can say like, hey, maybe you don't need this. And you might hear that from 5 or 6 different people, right? So features, all Osworks Groups members can list for a project. It comes with the membership. Obviously, you get this experience. Again, David was an example of that today. And then we'll talk a little bit more about this as we go, but the investability score inside of CrowdSmart is going to be really important, because we're going to remove any bias in like judging of projects. We just want to make sure that there is some sort of component that removes us from the equation, so that we can just put the projects that are the best ones after these scores on the stage. So I won't necessarily get into how to participate right now. I'm going to talk through that in a second for anybody who's interested here today. It's really going to be easy. But the requirements, right? So I mentioned anybody who gets involved in this and is listed as an owner has to become a member. You've got to be willing to provide feedback on 5 other pitches. This is a community effort, so you'll be able to upload your deck, but we also want you to provide feedback for others. And then we'll do like an onboarding and program completion survey, so that we can gauge our pilot and see. The intention is to have this continue to go on a rolling basis, whether it's biannually or quarterly, so that even if you don't get to pitch this one time around, that you may continue to refine and pitch later on. So,
and what was the deadline that you mentioned if we had people that might be interested?
So the deadline, and I use that term sort of loosely, but the deadline would be somewhere around December 17th. And the reason for that is that we want to make sure that, one, there's time to upload all the materials you need, and two, to get enough feedback that would potentially rank you to be a presenter in January. So we just want to be fair to everyone who might join in. That doesn't mean that somebody couldn't go right up till the end of December, but if you upload your stuff on December 31st, like, you're not going to have any feedback, and you're not going to get any ranking to potentially be listed in January. So that's really the timeline. It's a few weeks. Like, this is pretty quick, right? So but the cool thing is, like Steve said, we're hitting a holiday, but that doesn't necessarily deter this process, because you could be sitting on your couch kind of processing your turkey and like be leaving feedback, right? So yeah, I just want to thank everybody for being here, listening. I know we're a little bit over time. I'm happy to field any other questions that come in, but otherwise, if you need to cut out, I totally understand. Have a great weekend. As always, like, it's cool. I mean, we've been at this. We launched in January, and here we are doing something that I think is going to have a real impact on this whole industry. So any thoughts? Anybody else? Questions?
I have a question.
Yeah.
So when we upload the information on CrowdSmart, is this for other developers with projects and opportunity zones to provide, like, Paul did for me, provide feedback on the pitch, or is it opportunity zone funds that will see this, or smaller investors who want to invest in an opportunity zone fund? And if it's other developers with projects in opportunity zones, some of this data that I would be uploading, I normally would only provide to people that have, sign an NDA, because the last thing I want is another developer taking my proprietary information and going and doing another hotel, 5 minutes, 10 minutes away. Do I get some level of comfort in that?
Yeah, so to answer the first part of your question, which is who's going to be looking at this, my answer is all of the above. So the second part of that is that if there is sensitive information, please be conscious of that, because this is truly an open crowdsource program and process. And Steve and I were talking a little bit about this, and that we would recommend saying, there is, if somebody leaves feedback and says, where is this? Then you say, hey, please come to me and sign an NDA. Like, I have it, right? Because you can respond. So Steve, do you want to elaborate on that at all?
Yeah, when you're setting it up, David, you could say that here's some high level information, but obviously for those interested, I could provide one-on-one detailed feedback. We do investments all the time. Sometimes they don't want to show a cap table right up front, but if you're interested, then they'll get in touch with you. And there's a piece of the evaluation where they say whether they're interested in hearing more about the investment. And you could do that more one-on-one, but you could allude to the fact that you've got a full financial projection and here's high level of it, and you've got the detail, and you work.
Right. I mean, I have the teaser that I shared with you guys, that PDF.
Exactly.
But then I also have a 100-page deck and a full model and comps, and I have, I've been working on this a long time. So
yeah, I would hold back on that to an interested investor.
Great questions.
Yeah, and also we run into that too, David. And what we've done is when we talk to people, we put confidentiality statements on our materials, so that it's only intended for this, the person it's intended for. But yeah, I understand that too. It's we started out too working on trying to get NDAs signed, and that can be kind of cumbersome. But yeah, you want to protect your sensitive information as much as possible.
Yeah, and we part of the terms and conditions that I'll send over is obviously statement saying like, hey, let's play by the rules here, let's play fair, and like know that any material that isn't specifically said that it should be shared should be shared. So I'll that'll be part of part of the email I'll send over. But it's great question, David. I mean, it's a reality in this, and we want to be sensitive to these things. At the same time, we want to get you in front of more people. And so, Super Dave, you just mentioned something that Steve and I also talked about. I mean, we've gone out and sourced capital, and we've all started sort of in those beginning days of saying like, hey, investor, we want you to sign an NDA. And they say, well, we're not going to invest in you. Go to the next person, right? So, so
It's
there's
a sensitive subject.
it happens. I mean,
It happens.
Well,
It is.
the reality is an investor looks at 100 deals and, might invest in 5. So
Yeah,
they don't want to be restricted by the 95 that they weren't that interested in. But there is, I would say put as much in there as you're comfortable sharing, and then allude to the fact that there's so much more detail that we can get into if you're interested. And then that kind of begs for a next step anyway. You kind of want that.
Yep. Good stuff. Thank you all. It's exciting. Just a whole nother exploration for all of us. So thanks for participating, Steve. Appreciate you and your team.
Yeah.
I will reach out to a bunch of people who dropped their names in here today, and we'll get things rolling by early next week. So thanks again. Happy Friday, and appreciate you all.